The IT London home in Savoy Place is an undisputed landmark of the city. It is a truly spectacular building, full of history, full of character. In a couple of months' time, it's going to close down for 2 years for major refurbishments and the restoration. And we thought this is a good moment to look back at its history, to wander along its corridors, to try and capture its unique character. There couldn't be a better guide for that than Anne Locker, the IT archivist. We are now in the reception area, the spot that no visitor to the building can avoid. Is there anything interesting about it, Anne?
Well, when VIE purchased the lease of the building in 1908, one of the first things it did was completely redesign the foyer and the reception area, so to present a really impressive spectacle for anybody visiting the building.
It's pretty impressive. So where do we go from here then?
Well, let's take the corridor around here and have a look at the lift.
You lead the way.
So this is the original lift of the building. It's a cage lift, still in operation.
Can I hold it for you?
Yes, if you could. Great.
After you.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Thank you.
You know, and I felt a bit claustrophobic in that lift. It has a rather strange shape.
Yes, one of these theories is it was a cadaver lift when this building was used for medical research before the IET purchased the lease. So that's the reason it's quite long and narrow. Right, now let's go have a look at the lecture theatre.
Let's do it. Who is that imposing-looking Victorian gentleman over there?
That's Willoughby Smith, past president of the IEE, and he is the first person to discover the photovoltaic effect of selenium.
Wow, he looks very Dickensian.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? So here we are in the lecture theatre.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it? This is one of the first things the institution did in 1908, 1909. So it had a place for members to meet and to exchange information at meetings.
And wooden panels, is it mahogany?
It's Cuban mahogany, yes. And you can see there are roundels carved in the panels with the names of famous electricians and scientists.
And what's on the ceiling? I was always wondering what that composition meant.
Well, it's an artwork that was put in the 1990s, and it represents art and science. And it's actually based on an illustration in one of the IE's rare books from William Gilbert's De Magnete.
Oh, right, because I used to think that was a map of the world showing places where IT members are working, but obviously it's not so.
No, the points actually represent magnetic declination, and it dates from 1871 when the institution was founded. So here we are in the chicken run, and this is where we keep a lot of the library backstock.
Wow, chicken run. Why is it called chicken run?
Well, that was because I mentioned earlier that there was some original medical research going on in this building before the IE moved here. And one of the things they did for their research was keep chickens, and according to some of our old plans, also monkeys.
For what kind of research?
Well, we did all sorts of research here, including some very early research on diphtheria and typhoid, and also the original headquarters of the Cancer Research Fund were in this building.
So it was all for good causes they kept.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
These chickens and monkeys, you said as well?
According to our plans, yes. Well, here we are in the basement. And it doesn't look much now, but this is where all the facilities and the kitchens used to be when the institution was first in the building. Before it put a final story on top of the building, moved the refectory up in the 1950s.
What year was it approximately?
The refectory moved upstairs in the 1950s. So all the kitchens would have been here, and there was a lift to carry food up from the basement up to the ground floor, which is where the members' facilities were. And members would come here for lunch and refreshments, which is something they still do today.
Absolutely, and that's pretty good today as well. I can
yes.
testify to it.
Okay. Right. So here we are in the Blumline room, and this is the member and the staff restaurant for the building.
from kitchens of the past to the staff restaurant of the present.
Absolutely.
And it's a very good one, I know. Oh, I had lunches here repeatedly.
Yes, absolutely. And also, people might not know, this is one of the first BBC studios, and the BBC were occupying the building as well between 1923 and 32.
Well, I saw the play downstairs, but I always thought that the first BBC broadcasting studio was in Alexandra Palace.
No, not at all. They first started in Marconi House, which is across the road on the Strand. And then in 1923 they moved here. They started off on the west wing of the building and gradually increased in size until they took over the whole of Savoy Hill House at the back.
So London Calling first sounded from here?
Absolutely.
Now, this is my favorite room in the whole building. And also one of the most beautiful reading rooms of any library I've ever seen. It reminds me a little bit of the Trinity College Library in Dublin, although of course that one is much older and much posher and has many more tiers. But I love the functionality of this room, the fact that it has a lot of space, a lot of light, and it is just a brilliant place to work. And as an associate member of the IT, I just love working here at one of these desks, actually, surrounded by books and surrounded by lovely stuff that you have here as well. Is there any history behind it all, Anne?
Well, the institution built this library in 1908, 1909, and it was built to house the Ronalds Library, which was originally donated to the IET in 1879. And of course, the library has expanded since then.
I see. So this sort of second tier, it's very unusual to see it in modern libraries. And one of the stories or maybe myths that I heard was that there used to be an operation theatre here of the students' hospital that was here in the 19th century. Is there any truth behind it?
Well, it's a great story, and certainly this would have made a really good area for doing operations, but unfortunately we don't have any evidence it was actually used as an operating theatre.
Oh, well, maybe it's for the better.
Yes.